All right, old school NBA fans, self-research, NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. In this video here, it took quite a while to compile the data for this one. I'm not going to bore you with the year-by-year raw data, but I will get right to the point. I took a look at my top 15 all-time players, and I compared what their teammates were doing scoring-wise. The number 2, the number 3, and the number 4. Those are your best 3 teammates right there. You're the superstar, so you're the number 1. So what did the number 2, the number 3, and the number 4 do? And then I took the 3 of them collectively to see what was the average of the 3 players combined. So I'll just get right into it. Moses Malone, currently he's my number 15. Now, he had some years where he did have a lot of scoring help, whether it was Calvin Murphy, Dr. J, Andrew Toney. Later on, towards the end of his career, he had Dominique Wilkins on his team when he played for Atlanta. But all in all, his best teammate was getting him 19.25 points per game, which that's pretty good, actually, very good. The number 3 best scorer on the team was getting 16 points on the dot. And then the number 4 player was 12.89 points per game. And that's all over the course of Moses's career. You add it all up, the average player, his 3 best scoring teammates, comes to 16.05. So that means on average, take when he played for Philly, for example, Dr. J, Andrew Toney, and Maurice Cheeks collectively are getting you 16 points each on average. Actually, in 1983, he was getting a little more than that. They were giving him 17.83 points per game. And that was about the best he ever had. And 1984, even though they got upset in 5 games in the first round, his 3 best teammates were getting him 18.466. But 16.05 collectively from his 3 best scoring teammates through the course of his playoff career, you're going to see a lot of guys right around that. Steph Curry. In Steph Curry's career, his best scoring teammate was getting him 21.05. That's actually almost 2 points better than what Moses was getting. The next best guy, 15.17. That's actually a little lower than Moses. And then the number 4 guy is 11.93. You add it all up, and it comes to 16.02 points per game, almost exactly what Moses was getting. Moses and Steph Curry were getting almost identical, the same offensive production from their top 3 scoring teammates. The highest season that Curry had between his best 3 teammates would have been 2018. They got him 19.8 points per game. And I'm sure that was KD, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. I'm sure of it. Jerry West. Jerry West had Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain. And another thing, too, some things that I've only found out recently, the Lakers really didn't have that bad of a team. People that like to give them excuses about, well, yeah, they had West and Baylor, but Boston just had so many Hall of Famers. Of course, I've went over it so many times. A lot of those guys never would Hall of Famers had they not played with Bill Russell. But even still, they had Dick Barnett. He's in the Hall of Fame. Rudy LaRusso, he's a 5-time All-Star. They had other guys even before Wilt Chamberlain. It wasn't just a 2-man show. But Jerry West's best number 2 scoring teammate in the course of his career was getting 26.2 points per game. The number 3, 15.5, and the number 4, 12.2. Now, there's obviously a significant drop-off from the number 2 to the number 3. I get it. But on average, those 3 guys in the course of his playoff career were getting him 17.966 points per game. You also have to take into account the era. I get it. Points came a lot higher back in the 60s as they did in the 90s or the 2000s. No doubt about it. Just like now, in the last 10 years, points come a lot easier in the last 10 years than they did in the 90s and 2000s. No doubt about it. Dr. J, in the course of his career, he had some pretty good help. His number 2 was getting him 21.1. He had like Doug Collins, Moses Malone, later on Barkley at the very end of his career, those last couple years. His number 3 was 16.62. That's not bad at all. Andrew Toney, George McGinnis, I think even Daryl Dawkins one year, a couple years. His number 4, 14.29. That's pretty good, actually. All told, 17.33 points per game from his best 3 scoring teammates. That's good. LeBron James, obviously this guy's played a long time, but even still, his best scoring teammate, the number 2 on all his teams, on average, in the 18 playoff runs that he had, 20.01 points per game. So he's getting 20 points per game every night on average from his number 2. That is nice. His number 3, definite drop off down to 13.93, so about 14 a game, which is just okay. And then his number 4, only 10.82. Now there were times where he was getting more than that, like the last 2 seasons, 14.8 and 14.2. But add up those 3 guys on average in the course of his career. Those 3 guys averaged 14.92 points per game. So right around 15. That's a little less than all the other guys. But that's the way LeBron wanted it. Ball dominant, let me make all the decisions. I get all the assists. I get all the defensive rebounds. That's the way he wanted it. Shaquille O'Neal, not too different from LeBron, a little bit better. His number 2, because obviously he played with Penny Hardaway, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. Not bad for a number 2 putting up those kind of points. In fact, in 2001, Kobe averaged 29.4 points per game for the whole playoffs. That's nuts. 2003, Kobe was getting 32.1. In 06, Dwayne Wade was getting 28.4. In 2010, LeBron James getting 29.1. This dude had plenty of scoring help. The number 2 on average was getting him 23.63 points per game. The number 3, that would have been like your Glenn Rice, your Eddie Jones, your Antoine Walker, later on your Steve Nash, because Stoudemire was leading scorer for Phoenix those couple years he played for them. 13.52 points per game. And the number 4, 11.12. All told, on average, those 3 guys were bringing in 16.09 points per game. So it's almost like it doesn't matter where the points are coming from. Those 3 guys collectively are getting you 48 points a night. That's the same for Moses. That's the same for Curry. Dr. J was getting 17 and a third points per game, and Jerry West was getting about 18 points per game, but that was in another era where points were coming a lot easier. And LeBron is under 15, a little bit, barely, but just under 15. So far, he's got the lowest scoring help of the 3 teammates. Tim Duncan, in his career, his number 2, which was David Robinson, Tony Parker, at the very end, Kawhi Leonard, maybe Ginobili once or twice on these playoff runs, but on average, 19.72 points per game. The number 3, which that was mostly probably Ginobili, 14.6 points per game. The number 4 getting you 10.23 points per game. That's pretty low. In fact, that's lower than what LeBron was getting. 14.85 was what Duncan was getting. That's just under what LeBron was getting. But what I saw was the years where Duncan was not doing the heavy lifting himself, when other players were getting more points in those specific seasons, San Antonio didn't win. Typically, he had to do the heavy lifting for them to win the championship. The only exception would have been 2014 because they played 8, 9, 10 players deep. Hakeem Olajuwon, his number 2 is getting him 18.39 points per game. I think that's the lowest I've seen yet. His number 3 was getting him 14.89 points per game, and the number 4, 12.7. Now, Olajuwon wasn't the upper echelon scorer. Obviously, he was still getting mid-20s most of the time. But all told, 15.32 points per game, which isn't a ton, but still is one of the lower ones on here. He just didn't have those kind of guys. The main issue Olajuwon had his entire career was perimeter defense. Whenever there was a good guard, they skinned them almost every time. Look at the Lakers in the early 90s when they beat them. You could look at the Seattle series, that 7-game series in 93. They had Gary Payton and Nate McMillan, and Houston just couldn't match up with that talent. When they got beat by Seattle in the 80s, when it was Xavier McDaniel, Dale Ellis used to kill them. They couldn't do anything with Dale Ellis. They would get beat, plain and simple. Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain obviously played in the 60s. His number 2, which would have been Paul Arizin, Jerry West, Hal Greer, 24.46 points per game. That's a lot. His number 3 was getting him 18.05. Been like the Chet Walker type player, the Gail Goodrich, the Elgin Baylor, the Tom Gola maybe, Billy Cunningham. The number 4, 14.44. That's about like Olajuwon's number 3. But all told, he got 18.98 points per game between his top 3 scoring teammates. So he's getting 19 points each from his top 3 scoring teammates on average. That's really good. But again, I am factoring in he played in the 60s, something to keep in mind. Sure. Larry Bird, his number 2 on average in his career in the playoffs was getting him 21.06. Parrish, McHale, Tiny Archibald, later on, Reggie Lewis some years. The number 3 was also doing pretty good, 16.63 points per game. And the number 4, 14.83 points per game. So he had pretty good scoring help, 17.5 points per game on average. You're getting from your 3 best scoring teammates. That is excellent in the playoffs. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he had 18 playoff runs. His best scoring teammate, on average, 19.97 points per game. The number 3 was 17.54, and the number 4 at 14.966. That's pretty good. Almost exactly like Bird. He got 17.49 points per game. 17.5 points, whether it's Bird, whether it's Kareem. That's nice. Both guys had decent amount of scoring help. That's above average. Kobe Bryant. Now, obviously, he had Shaq on his team for half his career. Now, I did not use the years that he was on the bench in 97, 98, because then it would just be astronomical, always trying to keep this stuff above board. Kobe Bryant, his number 2, got him 22.24 points per game. Mostly Shaq, Pau Gasol quite a bit, would have been Lamar Odom probably in those middle years. But then there is a very steep drop-off from the number 2 to the number 3, because the number 3 is 12.57 points per game. The number 4, under 10 points, 9.92 points per game. He's getting 14.91. So on average, Kobe, like LeBron and like Duncan, are getting under 15 points per game on average from their top 3 scoring teammates. That means you got to do the heavy lifting yourself. The reason why I think Duncan got away with that, obviously they're a really good defensive team, but because of the era that he played in. Same with Kobe. That's how you could get away with that. And LeBron played at least the first 10 years of his career in the same era, basically. Magic Johnson, like you'd expect, had a ton of scoring help because he wasn't a scorer. But one reason why I got Magic higher than a lot of people do is because once Kareem got old, they already lost Norm Nixon. They lost Jamal Wilkes, Bob McAdoo. Those guys all contributed a lot of points. James Worthy came in. Byron Scott came in. Absolutely. But they didn't get much after that. Once Kareem aged out and his production started to take a decline, a heavy decline, Worthy was still there. Byron Scott was dipping a little bit. And yet, even players like Michael Thompson, he wasn't there to give you that 12, 15 points per game anymore. Michael Cooper taking a significant dip, and then he even retired. Magic is the one who picked up the scoring slack. He did all that creating, setting everybody up. But then in the later 80s, I think Pat Riley told him, you're going to have to score more. And he did. He actually put up some pretty good numbers. If you look in those late 80s, early 90s, Magic was the offensive driving force. But his number 2, it's ridiculous. Obviously, when you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in his prime, and then you got Worthy, 25.58 points per game. That's a lot. His number 3, 20.41. And then his number 4, 15.24. And when you add it all up, 20.41 is what he was getting on average in the playoffs from his top 3 scoring teammates. You're getting 61 points from 3 guys every night. Yeah, no wonder they won 5 championships. But even still, Magic had to be one of those high-level scorers in order for them to win, period. Bill Russell, believe it or not, even he was not as high as Magic on those top 3 scoring teammates. He wasn't. And contrary to what people think, Russell actually did lead the Celtics in scoring in the playoffs a couple times. But on average, his second best scoring teammate, which was actually probably the first best of the team, 23.8 on average. That's really good. The number 3 was 20.1, and the number 4, 16.35. You got so many guys. Havlicek, a little bit of Frank Ramsey, Bill Sharman, Bob Cousy, Sam Jones, Bailey Howell. Those guys were all scoring for Bill Russell. But unlike Magic, Russell didn't need to score. He had to anchor the defense and lead the team on offense and defense, set people up. He just knew what to do. He was smarter than anybody. On average, 20.08 points per game. So he's getting 60 points per game from 3 guys every night. That's really good to know that. That's actually a hair under Magic. So the lowest guys so far was Duncan, Kobe, and LeBron. They were just under 15 points per game. What do you think Michael Jordan was? His top scoring teammate on average in his playoff career was 18.2. The number 3 dips dramatically down to 11.79. And then the number 4, another dip down to 9.33 points per game on average, which is just nuts. But collectively, Michael Jordan's top 3 scoring teammates in the playoffs were getting him 13.1 points per game. So that's 39 points a game. Let's assume the other starter is getting him around 8 points a game. That's 45 points. That means Jordan was going to have to score 30, 40 points every night for them to win, even in the years they won championships. This was no easy feat to do that. The pressure that was put on him. I mean, yeah, LeBron James had some pressure, especially earlier in his career, no doubt about it. But when he got to Miami, that pressure was off. You had Wade, you had Bosh, you had other guys that could come in and score, like a Shane Battier or a Ray Allen. You had other guys that could help you, Mike Miller. And then when you got to Cleveland, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Kyrie Irving. And then on the Lakers, of course, it's been crazy. You had Anthony Davis, Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, that Austin Reeves kid, and obviously now Luka Doncic. He's definitely had plenty of scoring help ever since he went to Miami. The last, 15 years, he's had a ton of help. And even when he was on Cleveland the first stint, later on, he had guys that could score. Anton Jameson, Mo Williams, what's wrong with that? Those guys were getting you 30 to 32 points between them every night. That's good. That's more than what Jordan was getting. I got to go back and look, but how did the Bulls even maintain a 26-12 record in 1998 when Pippen was out? Who scored? I guess Kukoc probably did. I got to go back and look at that. I'll make a video on it. We could talk about that because who was scoring? Ron Harper? Longley? Who? Was Kerr getting more minutes? I watched all the games. I just don't remember. I think they were grinding them out is what they were doing, keeping the score low and not winning by huge margins. But I'll have to go back and check that out. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing it, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I give daily content. And that's it. Until next time.